Okay.
Look like there were many people.
I'm calling time.
Find it.
Okay, raise your hand if you found community. Okay, raise your hand if you found compassion. Okay? Embrace. Endure. Family. Future. Light. Reflection. Support. Volunteer. Okay, look at the words you did not find and tell me what's missing. Tell me what the common letter is in all of that.
Of the ones you didn't find.
Of the ones you did not find. Say it again, Sarah. You.
They're not there.
They're not there? So, we cannot complete this word find without you. We cannot complete our mission as Ragan's Hope without you. You're not going to flog me after this meeting?
There's a reason why the 10-year-old made it.
Okay, I want to go over just a few things. First of all, I just want to go over the importance of you. I mean, truly, Ragan's Hope, our mission is to help families endure what they're going through and embrace the future. And honestly, without each and every single one of you, we are not able to accomplish that. So there will be things that are left undone that we need to do for our families. So please do not think, oh, somebody else is going to do it. Somebody else has got this. I don't have to do it. I'm going to pretend like I didn't even see that email. Or Stacy or Sydney texted me. I don't know who Sydney is. So seriously, we really cannot do this without you. I know each and every one of you have played such a big role. We're happy to see some new faces here. But really, the list that the accomplishments of 2013 that Delina passed out, that is because of every single one of you and the role that you're playing with Ragan's Hope. And I just really hope and pray that those of you who are taking a big part in Ragan's Hope will continue, and those who are new or maybe just still kind of kicking the tires and haven't really jumped in there, I really hope and pray that you do, and that we can help you find your place in that. So we are really, really, really growing, as Delina mentioned, and so it is very important that in addition to the role that each of you play, that we also help bring on new volunteers. Linda, prime example, has done an amazing job. Kristen, sitting next to Linda, is here because Linda brought her on. And Kristen is now our projects coordinator. So please don't, and Kristen's only one of the people that Linda's brought on. She's brought on several this week.
Could I just say something about
Absolutely.
I didn't even know that Kristen would be interested. I just kind of asked a bunch of my friends, and I mean, she's like a daughter to me. It just so happened that she had lost her volunteer.
Event coordinator.
Yeah, right. And I didn't even know what her gifts were. I mean, I know her, I've known her for several years, but it's just amazing if you start reaching out to other people, even if you don't even think they'd be interested. And there's more.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually just last week met with a cousin of mine, and she has been kind of, through the years, well, what does Ragan's Hope do? What, and kind of showing a little bit of interest here and there, but as far as really committing, because, especially with my family, I'm not going to go, we need to sit down because, I'm selling something, or, I want them it to be their idea, but Ragan's Hope is part of my life, and so, like we were talking about earlier, we want it to be part of your life as well. So we're just in your conversations, when you're just talking to people, talk about Ragan's Hope and what you're doing. But this cousin of mine, she's not somebody that she's not going to make any hospital visits, something like that. She's not going to be that hands-on. But one of them that she said, I have a background in public relations and in writing newsletters and editing and all this kind of stuff. So we were like, oh, okay, we need to talk. So I really do think that you will find that Ragan's Hope has so many different opportunities that there really is something for every single person. No matter what their skill set, their passion, or their experience is, we have a place for everybody. So,
Can I say something?
absolutely.
It's so interesting how you can be somewhere. It's like God puts you in a place at a certain time. Roger and I were at Papado's the other day eating dinner, and the server, the guy that was our server, he volunteers at Scottish Rite with the prosthetics. And I said, you would love Ragan's Hope. I said, you know, so we told him how to find it on Facebook and all that. So it was just so interesting how, you know, he was our server.
Yeah.
You know, we happened to go really early in the day. It wasn't a real busy time, you know, and so for us to find that out was really awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
That's good.
Also, don't only think about your friends and family that are here locally. I mean, obviously, if it's a waiter, you need to talk to them face to face like that. But we are growing across the country, as Delina mentioned. I need help in Houston, like you guys wouldn't believe. I think that we're about to have to upgrade our family and just move there. Seriously. I'm teasing. But Houston is an area that we have partnerships and we are growing. So if you know anybody in Houston, please send them our way. And really just any area. I've got a friend right now who lives in Montana, and so she's, you know, she and I are kind of talking about, okay, is this an area that we want to, you know, kind of help grow and develop. So it doesn't matter where your friends and family and your colleagues live or, you know, work. Again, Ragan's Hope has a place for them. If you could just look on your cards that are in front of you. On the front side, if you could just update your name, address, all this. So we just want to make sure that everything that we have is accurate. I'm going to give everybody just a minute to do that while we're going to pass them out some other things. Okay, does everybody have one of these sheets that Delina just passed out? Everybody's good? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So I just want to quickly run through the volunteer team positions that we have and really get everybody, I just really want you to think about what teams you are already on. Possibly you don't even know that you're actually on a team for this, but we have teams for everything. And we're really trying to get everybody to those teams so that our coordinators have a go-to list of people that they can call, as well as in order to help build the community among the volunteers that we really want to build. You know, I thought is that we would have smaller groups get together for some little social things or whatever, so popular. So the first one is our administration team. These volunteers' primary focus will be data entry. So everything that we do is entered into a database. Your attendance today will be entered into the database. Everything that we do for the families into the database, and that's how Delina's able to get the numbers that she had for earlier today. And so that's also how we keep track of all of our everything that's been done for our families and any updates, things of that sort. So if you're good with data entry, please let us know. As I'm going, on the back of the card that you just filled out are all the teams. So please check if you're either currently serving or you're interested in knowing more about it. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you're signing this in blood and you're going to be doing this for the next 20 years. It's just that if you're not currently serving on that, we'll get you more information about it, okay? Our calls with purpose. We have two areas within this team to serve. One is our A through Z family call team. These team members have ongoing contact with the families on a monthly basis. So once a month, the people that are on your list, you would make a phone call to. If that family is on maintenance, then you do it once a month. After that, then if they're getting back in the hospital and going to have higher volume needs, then you would kick that back over to the area team lead or to Cindy, and and then Cindy would facilitate all of the needs and the coordinating. So it's purely just a monthly call to the families. To the families on your list, not all 372 families that we have, so don't be overwhelmed by that. The other side of that is that we also need people that will call volunteers, like to do reminder calls for meetings and things. Oftentimes, as we begin to develop the relationship with the families, people will take the people on the call team take the next step and they start visiting them in the hospital. So the other way to serve within the Calls with Purpose is to make calls to our, like I said, the volunteers and the families prior to an event. So anyway, so if you're good with making phone calls and, maybe on your lunch hour or in the evening or, whenever you're willing to take a few minutes a month and do that, that would be great. Our card team members, like Delina said, the card teams are amazing. And I just want to tell you that as a mom who's had a child who Ragan's Hope is supporting, all my children actually, when you get those cards in the mail, I just can't tell you how much it means. It's one of those deals where you feel like the whole world has forgotten about you. I specifically remember standing in my kitchen one day and we had just gotten some news that JC was going to have to go back in and it was going to be another surgery and it was just kind of a mess and just crying and going, God, everybody has forgotten about us, and almost like, okay, God, have you forgotten about us? I really need a sign here that, that we're not just out here on our own. And we went to the mailbox that day and there was a card from one of our volunteers. So please know that that's a huge deal. In addition to the cards we send to our families, we also try to send cards to you guys, to volunteers. We want to send cards back and forth to each other because it's very important to me and I know to many of you that we have a great community within the volunteers and that we're there to support each other and help each other. So, if there's a death in the family, we want to be able to send a card. If there's, maybe somebody's having a surgery, we want to do some get well stuff. And then also even, take a meal if somebody has a surgery or, visit them in the hospital or, babysit my 5 kids so that Jason might be gone a day. I'm sorry. Just raise your hand. We got your covered.
They're good kids.
I'm teasing. Yeah, literally. No, I'm just joking. But back to the card team. That is such a huge deal. I mean, it's just sit down and write cards for a few minutes. The impact that it has is amazing. So, our communication team. This team helps with many different areas. We have writing projects. This team reports to Jenny. Our social media needs, web development, as well as being responsible for the video needs as they arise from the foundation. This team really does comprise, as far as with volunteers that have experience in these areas. So if this is something that maybe you've done on a personal or professional level and would like to do more of that, I know Jenny's always looking for people that might want to be guest writers on her blogs and needs help with editing the superstar biographies and all the different things that she does. So our dance therapy team, this is a group that's just really having a great time. We open up a 6-week session to our families for them to bring their children and their children's siblings for dance therapy. We have one of our volunteers is a dance instructor, as well as Vicki is also a dance instructor, so Vicki helps with that a lot. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, she does it. Not helps a lot. I don't mean helps a lot. I mean, she has done. So, anyway, and then Liza is there, and she has a couple of other dance instructors that come. And I know that after the first one of the moms that we support posted on Facebook how excited she was about the Ragan's Hope Dance Therapy because her daughter had been speaking all the next day. And this is a child that does not speak. She is nonverbal. Yeah, she's nonverbal, extremely handicapped, and she just said the way that she kind of came out of her shell for the rest of the weekend was really amazing. So it is extremely impactful for our families. It also gives the siblings an opportunity to interact with their, with their special needs sibling, because I think a lot of times it's like, well, the child with medical issue goes and does things. Well, this we're including the siblings, and so it's an opportunity to kind of teach them to play together even, and then hopefully they can kind of take that home and be able to continue that at home. So
This is something too, just real quick, that Medicaid used to provide. They used to pay for the patient to get this type of therapy, and they have cut that out. So these families that are financially strapped already, they cannot afford to do this therapy. And so by the volunteers, going and dedicating an hour, a weekend to do that really allows them to get to come. We're not charging for it, so they get to come and enjoy, that they would not be able to do if we didn't have that for them. So.
And you don't have to be a dance
Right.
to be involved. I mean,
Yeah.
we start out with different little games and
It's a
exercises.
time for you to be a kid with them.
And we do all kinds of different little interactions, and we're learning a routine to Katy Perry's Roar. So it's a really awesome song and a good workout. But so you can come for that 1 hour and have fun.
Okay, so thanks for some of that. Donation team. Jason works with our donation team. This is people that want to help with the 5K that we have. Jason will probably talk a little more about that in a little bit, as well as maybe you approach your company that you work for and ask them if they'd be willing to either make a donation or even sign up for. And a lot of companies will, if their employees volunteer a certain amount of time. I know at Southwest Airlines, if you volunteer 40 hours, then Ragan's Hope gets a airplane ticket. So Microsoft also does that. So there are a lot of companies that if you just approach them about it, they'll do that. And then also I always say, if you're in the same Starbucks or the same Subway or wherever you go, a couple times a week, and you kind of get to know those people a little bit, just walking up and going, hey, I work for this nonprofit, and would you be willing to donate some gift cards? You'd be surprised at how many people will do that. So that would fall under the donation team. Our photography team, pretty much if you can take a picture without cutting a head off, you qualify. The only other thing that I do want to say about that is it is imperative that day you get those pictures where they need to be. So Dan helps take care of facilitating that, and we have a Dropbox that Dan gives access to so people can just dump their pictures into that. But we do take pictures of everything. It's like an online storage system for photos. Is that right?
Yeah. It can be used for other files too.
Yeah.
It's perfect for
Yeah.
photography.
That's pretty fancy list of
Videos, documents, spreadsheets.
online storage. I know. I totally faked my way.
On my computer.
And if you're technologically challenged, we can find other ways to get those photos out.
There we go. Thank you.
You're welcome. Our PR and marketing. Byron takes care of our PR and marketing, and these team members collectively work to ensure that the communities we're serving as well as our next target areas are getting the publicity necessary in order to fulfill the needs of our foundation. So that is, Byron does press releases, so he needs help writing those press releases, editing things, getting the word out, contacting different areas, as well as he also does our newsletter. Who reads the newsletter? Please everybody raise your hand, just lie to me. So, be sure to read that. There's always great information in it. So he does a great job on that. So please make sure you read that. Our translation support. If anyone speaks another language besides English, Pig Latin does not count, unfortunately. I tried. Please sign up for the translation team. We have families. Obviously, Spanish is our biggest need. However, we have families from Africa. We have Muslim families from the Middle East. So it really does not matter what language you speak other than English. If we don't have a need right now, I'm sure we will have a need pretty soon, because it's funny to me how God always brings the family to us right after we kind of go, somebody goes, well, I speak Chinese or whatever, and then, 2 weeks later, oh. And we always kind of joke about, well, I guess we're about to have a Chinese family because God just that. So anyway, they always need the different languages. Our updates and prayer team member, everyone is on the updates and prayer. So as soon as you have signed up with Ragan's Hope, you get those. Please make sure that you're taking the time to read through those. They are important. We put a lot of effort into those updates and prayers, and please don't just see those prayers and those updates as words on a paper. Know that there is a family hurting behind it, or a family that's praising God behind it. So we need to really lift those up. Our visitation team members, these volunteers go into the hospitals and or to the homes and visit with the people. And you know, we were talking about this the other night at our monthly volunteer training, which is the third Tuesday of every month. So please also put that on your calendar. You know, when you go in and you visit a family, often it does not matter. You know, really, like, you don't have to go in there knowing, oh, I have to know everything about leukemia so I can sound intelligent. That's not what it's about. It's not about, you're not the doctor or the nurse going in there. You're just a friendly face going in to break up the day. And I'm telling you, just sit in that hospital day in and day out. It is a world that never sleeps. It's a world that is separate from the rest of society, and society does not want to pretend, it wants to pretend like it is not there. And so when you walk in with a smile on your face and you're not wearing scrubs, it is awesome. It is great to see you. So, and then also just to, you know, hey, have you had a cup of coffee? Can I get you a cup of coffee? You know, just any little thing like that. They just know that, again, that they're not alone and that you're there to serve them. So, oh, I missed this whole bag. Sorry. Okay, here we go. Am I taking too long?
No, I mean, I think this is very much needed, just so people know
Okay.
all the areas.
I hope you're checking your boxes, y'all.
We are.
All right. Graphic art designs. We're always looking for graphic arts because we really do try to do a good job of having logos for everything, and you know, we really want to be able to emphasize that. I think that a lot of attention is drawn from people when we have great graphic artists. So if you or someone you know is a graphic artist, please let us know about that. Our global services. Who wants to go to Haiti? Anybody? Okay, we've got a few. Good. We are planning on going to Haiti
June.
in June, okay? And we're going to have a meeting about it
March 8th.
March 8th. So March 8th, if you or anybody you know wants to join us in Haiti, we support a home called Second Mile Ministries. Second Mile Ministries helps moms whose children are going through medical crises, whether it's a birth defect or cancer, whatever the case may be. Or do they just do birth defects?
Just any type of medical.
Any top, okay. So what happens in Haiti is these parents are allowed to drop their children off in the orphanages, but keep going back and seeing them. And so we want to keep these families together. And we want to teach these moms how to take care of their kiddos. And in addition to that, they also learn a trade, and they learn some life skills that they don't get over there. And we're not in no way trying to Americanize them. We are teaching them in their Haitian ways. That's what the Second Mile Ministry does. So maybe they're starting to make bracelets that they can sell on the street, or doing some sewing, selling eggs, things like that. So it's a really good opportunity for us to help with that through our global services group. Our Kids for Kids Club. If you can see in the middle of your table here, we have these postcards. And Kids for Kids, the opportunity that they have is to serve alongside their parents. So anything that the parents come to, they're welcome at. But then weekly, they receive an email, and the parents are able to sit down with their child or children, explain in an age-appropriate way what's going on with the children that we're supporting, that they have on their email that week. And then they sign this card, and it says, "We are praying for you because we care. I pray for you today." And then the kiddos just sign their names. In addition to that, we also have quarterly get-togethers. They're mission-driven get-togethers that we have with the kids. So they're able to serve, but they're also able to come and have some fun with some like-minded kids and families. So I think it's a great way for people to age group. I would say old enough to write their name through high school. Yeah, I mean it's so anyway, I think it's a really good group that we're.
Can I ask a question about that?
Absolutely.
If we know people that have kids, but they don't live in one of our, like, they don't live in DFW, you know, could they still maybe do this?
Sure.
And just sort of be like a car team, but.
Sure.
Okay.
Our meal team members, I think almost all of you have taken meals in here, which is awesome. Except for those of you who are brand new, but we really would like to get a specific team. Now that doesn't mean that if you're not on the meal team, that doesn't mean that you're never going to get a phone call, because we may need to reach out beyond our meal team. But we really want to know those of you who, I like taking meals. You know, I mean, it's nothing for me to order a pizza, call in a pizza, or pick up a rotisserie chicken from the store, or figure out your grandma's homemade recipe and make that, whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how we do it. It doesn't matter how it gets there. It's just if you're willing to be responsible for the meal. And one thing I thought about too is how much that means to the families. One, it's financial. Because these families, I don't care if they're extremely well off in the beginning, when you have a child with a medical crisis, it hits your pocketbook. So to help with that, to help offset some of that cost, also when they're in and out of the hospital, or maybe they're in the hospital for an extended amount of time, often we'll have families at home, and then part of the families at home, part of them at the hospital. So we kind of have to think about both sides of that. There was one point where we got meals for a month, y'all. Like every other day, we got a meal. So it's a huge deal. Also, then I know we just had one of our families whose child passed away, so we were able to take some meals for a few days as family and friends were getting there. So, our movers and shakers team helped the families move. So Ragan's Hope will rent a U-Haul. We'll have a team of people go in, they pack them up, they load the U-Haul, they take them to their new home and unpack them. And a home is packed, loaded, unpacked in about 4 to 6 hours. And they usually get pizza, because we usually provide pizza for volunteers. So, do that. So, Not a Superstars. Greg, I don't know that you were here when Delina was going through her introduction. So this is Greg Johnson with Not a Superstars. And if you have not been involved in Not a Superstars, I highly recommend that you be involved. It is amazing. It's awesome. There are great opportunities for volunteering with Not a Superstars for the event, as well as supporting the families after the event. So I'm not going to go into that anymore, because I know that Greg's going to talk a little bit about that. Our partnership development, Dan's over our partnership development, and he does an amazing job. I don't know how he gets in with all these people, but Dan just charms on. Is able to get us. We have a lot of different partners, and those partners are growing. So I know that there are opportunities that Dan can talk to you about that if you're interested in that. These volunteers will need the availability to call partners and attend various meetings during regular business hours. And our on-call special request team member, Shane, can you wave? Shane is our on-call special on-call special request team member. So this is if we need a yard mowed, if we need something delivered, Shane will give you a call for that. So anyway, and then let me just really quickly, because I did not, Liz, if you can raise your hand. This is Liz. She's over our card team. Teresa, raise your hand. Teresa is over our meal coordinating. So did I miss anybody? Are there any other coordinators? Oh, Marinette is over our Not a Superstars. She's our Not a Superstars liaison for the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So she makes monthly calls to the superstars that were just inducted back in the fall, all the Dallas-Fort Worth ones, just to check on them, see how they're doing, and make sure that they don't have any immediate needs that we can help with. So anyway, I think that's all. Did I skip any more pages? That's good. Okay, so check away. Get on your note card and just
Everybody has to check 3 or more.
Yeah.
note cards. There's one thing that I thought about while Stacy was talking. If you will just add, I know there's a little, maybe on the front, there's a little blank spot right here. The way you prefer to be communicated with. If you read every email that comes out, and that's how you want to know about something, put that. If you would prefer text messaging, put that. A phone call, whatever works best for you. Just make a little note of that for us.
You and Facebook, I know a lot of you Facebook. And on a note about Facebook, what did you have something else to talk about? Okay. If you go to the Ragan's Home Facebook page, it'll show you how many friends that you have that have already liked the page. And then it will say invite friends. And with one click, you can click that and then you just go through, click all your friends, and it will send them an invitation. And Delina and I, in one day, how many did you and I get between the two? It was like 400 or something crazy. Yeah, it was, yeah, we kind of,
We both were confused.
Before I did,
it was a good competition between the two of us. And there was, no, but it was a lot of fun. And so, really, it would be really great if we could kind of have a campaign and everybody do that. So let's try to do that this week. So just take 15 minutes, sit down, and just click through your people, and you would be really surprised. There were people that I went to high school with that I was like, wow, I didn't know they would like the page. And then they've even started commenting some, and so it's also a great way to bring new volunteers in, as well as allow people to know more about Ragan's Hope so that we can support families that they may know.
Good job. Okay, we're going to move into what some of the goals and plans are for this year. And I'm going to have the leaders that are here on the executive team just speak for a moment. But I think what I mainly want to go over first is the structure that we looked at a while ago on the org chart, just to help you understand that where we were and where we are today. Most of you that started with us in the earlier days, as you know, when you start something new, you start out with your friends. This is a collective group of friends that get the foundation started. At that time, we were all doing everything. Hey, Stacey, can you take a meal? Vicki, can you, go buy this for I was just calling anybody and everybody that I could think of to help. We've evolved now where we really need to form teams. And so that's why I thought it was important that we go through those teams so you can see where we are today versus where Delina was when she started it 4 years ago. So with that, I mentioned to you Dallas-Fort Worth, and since that's where we are today, I want to make sure you all understand. In the past, the Director of Family Support really was the one making all of those phone calls for DFW. And it is way too much for one person now. So over the last few weeks, we've looked at the way we were doing it. We met with the board, our board members, talked with them, came back, and the leadership team got together, and we talked again, and went back to the board, and back and forth. But what we've decided is, if we are already modeling our other areas outside of DFW with an area team lead, and then eventually developing teams under those team leads, then why aren't we doing that for Dallas-Fort Worth? So it made sense for us to continue using Dallas-Fort Worth as our model and carry that through nationally. So we are going to go ahead and divide Dallas-Fort Worth into, right now, probably Tarrant County, Dallas County, and depending on how many families we have, I have not ran the report, maybe Denton or Collin County. I'm not for sure how that's going to play out, but we will divide that out. So, that being said, that opens up possibly three more positions for us. And the responsibility for that area team lead, as it is right now, will be the call team will be making all the phone calls to the families on a monthly basis. If we find that a family needs more calls, that call team will call. You know, let's say we find out one of them is having an operation next week. Well, the call team calls last week, finds out, then that call team will call again a couple of days before the surgery and visit with them, find out all the info. That person will give that to the area team lead and let them know about that child and what's going on. At that point, then all of the coordinating starts with the meals and the cards and the prayers and all of that. Your area team lead, if you're on that call team, will help you, facilitate that with those teams. So you are not having to make 200 or 300 phone calls by being on the area team lead, because at that point you have that team doing that for you. So I think it's really important that we spend some time as a group in prayer over who those individuals are, because they are really overseeing our families in this area. They will report to Cindy, and Cindy will be working with them, training them on how that process more in detail, how that's going to look. But if that is something that you are interested in, be sure and let Cindy know, because I think it's really important we do structure it just like we're doing the others. Now, as the call team is developed, we had started, I guess, last month with Linda and Patty and gave them just the first letter A to kind of test it and try to work out that process a little bit before we gave that as an opportunity to serve. And we're now to that point we're ready to get more people on the call team to help with that. But eventually, that area team lead responsibility will be really one to be out in the community and really working with all of the executive team to build the area. And it's one of those where we're ready to really start building outside of Dallas-Fort Worth and get those areas, but we can't put all of our focus there because this is our home base, this is where it developed, this is where it started, and we can't and don't want to keep it in a maintenance. We need to keep growing Dallas-Fort Worth as we're doing the others. So that's really the difference from last year to this year, how that's going to look. And I think it's really, again, important that we start going back to developing those teams. So those team leads know who is on their team. Like Stacey said, it does build some community within the teams, and probably even a little competition for those of us that are a little competitive. We always like to give things out for different things that we are able to accomplish. So with that, I am going to let Jason, I guess you can go first and give us a little bit of your vision for this year.
All right, as we have learned about our lives, and we're out just doing our thing, living our lives at work, at home, at church, at the soccer field, wherever. Just be yourself. Use the connections that you have, that we all have, just to show what Ragan's Hope is doing, and people will want to get involved. Like all of us here, we were served. We've seen other people being served. We've known families that have been through some serious medical issues with their kids. So that's what has brought us all here. And so just share like you would about your church or your kids' soccer team or the band you like. Just keep doing that. I know you're already doing that. And so that's kind of a general way we can spread awareness, which will lead to financial donations and more volunteers and these things that we need to do to grow. It's kind of overwhelming when we look at where we were 2 years ago, where we are this year, where we're going this year, but none of that is a surprise to God. He's provided for us. He's brought us this far. Last year when we were talking about the budget, I was first starting to do fundraising. I was thinking there's no way. But that's with my limited mind and assets and skills and resources. That's not considering all of you, all of our other volunteers, the families that we're supporting now don't even know we're going to be supporting next month and the next month, that will have ideas and connections and companies they work for and clients they work with that are going to bring that awareness and those even those donations. Some specifics that we're going to try to do this year is, of course, we'll have the 5K here in Dallas, similar to last year, but bigger and better, of course. We're going to do one in Austin as well. That's going to be in October this week. I'll get those dates to you. So that's growing, and that's a big, people love to talk about that and invite friends and bring teams from work. So that's a big, high visibility way that we can raise awareness and funds. Also, the Night of Superstars events. That's a huge event where people are excited. It's fun to get dressed up and go to a wonderful event, an inspiring event, and some of the funds that are left over from covering the expenses of that go to the scholarship fund and the local families. And the other things that we're doing with Ragan's Help. So those are big events. So on a smaller scale, we have a new volunteer that has just said that, you know what, I'm going to go to some local businesses. I'm just going to go and show up and say, here's what we're about, here's what we're doing. Would you like to support us? And with that, with our team, we're going to come up with a certificate that you see sometimes in businesses. They'll post something. We support American Cancer Society, American Heart Association. It's going to be a nice framed certificate they can hang on the wall to show their support for the community, show what they're about. That will help spread awareness as well. And then we'll put 2014. We'll have different levels of support, similar to what we do with sponsorships with the 5K or with Night of Superstars. And that's going to be a visible reminder to their clients, to their customers, what they're about. And then we'll put 2014. Next year, we'll bring them a new one that says 2014, 2015 to show their long-term, ongoing support about what we're doing. So those are just things that are in the mix, that are developing. Don't be afraid to talk to your employer, to your dry cleaner, to your real estate agent, to your banker, because a lot of times businesses will have a budget for community service, community support. They might want to do a card making event, which is really a financial support to Ragan's Help, because if they're providing the materials, that could be hundreds of dollars, and they could get some cards written and sent out, and that gives our card team a break, because you saw those 3,000 cards. That's a lot of work, and we want to support our teams, give them a break when we can. So just do those little things as you're out and about working and doing what you do with your family. Just think of ways you can spread awareness. And a lot of these partnerships that Dana's built and that we've built through Ragan's Help families and employers, they didn't happen to go to Microsoft today and they give a big donation tomorrow or donate backpacks from Adidas. That happens through one person making one connection and then building on that. Some of those things took 2 or 4 years to develop, to where the company is writing a check or sending volunteers for an event. So just think where you can plant those seeds and then nurture those, what you grow. We're here, Dan's here, Delina's here to help you, to support you. You don't have to do it all. That's the greatness of our community and our growth, is that we have more and more resources for people to help make it happen. So keep doing what you're doing and give me a call. You have any great ideas, I know you do. Thank you.
Jason mentioned the budget. I didn't print that, and I probably should have emailed that out. But last year, our budget was $212,000. Our P&L for last year reflects that we spent $220,000. So we were really right on target with, our budget. I think the team did a great job with that to make that work really well. This year, I can tell you that it has doubled, and what our estimates are for our operating expenses for this year. But with that, IRS has the rule that if you're a nonprofit, you have to have 60% of what's coming in going towards mission. So you can't have, all of it going into your fundraising or all of it going into your administrative costs, like your salaries and things like that. Ours is still, we're very proud to say it's at 90%. So every dollar that comes in, 90% of that is going back into mission, supporting the families. And that's something to be very proud of as an organization, to be able to show that. And anytime you're asked, and a lot of times when we particularly start talking about fundraising, everybody gets a little nervous, especially if they're having to go talk to a business, because that means money, and people are going to ask questions. Anytime you have any of that you want to be able to be equipped with, having last year's, end of the year statement, this year's budget, we have all of that we can send to you. So, let us know. It is public record. records. So you all can definitely have that to help be a little bit more equipped. Dan, do you want to talk just a minute about partnerships?